Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stay Grounded podcast. Today I want to cover a really amazing experience that happened to me about a month ago and what I learned from that experience. About a month ago, I entered into an entrepreneur competition hosted by a company named Belay Solutions. There were several thousand applicants. 4 winners. I was one of them. And the winners got to have a one-on-one meeting with Daymond John. For those of you who don't know who Daymond John is, he is the founder of FUBU, a $6 billion clothing company. He is also more famously known for his appearances on Shark Tank. And he is an incredible businessman. And so as someone who's my age, I'm 26, being able to experience someone like him who's had so many years of business acumen and just going through challenges was super amazing and a really cool opportunity. And so I wanted to talk about my experience with Daymond and my experience in the competition and what I learned from it and how I'm going to apply that to my life moving forward. So when I reached in Atlanta where we were going to have our meeting with Damon, I was there with 3 other winners. It was really humbling to be surrounded by the other winners and the CEOs and the operating officers of Belay. Everybody was building something that they loved and legacies that they wanted to thrive. And everybody was looking for something different from a conversation with Damon, which I thought was so intriguing. We're all doing this together. We're all figuring out how to win in business, how to move forward in life, how to be fulfilled as we get there. But everyone was taking different paths. And so that was something that I found incredibly humbling to know that there's never just one way of doing something. And so you're never done learning. So this idea of committing to the process and learning where you're going, how you're going to get there and who you're going to get there with is something that's never going to stop, which was a very encouraging thought for me. As far as meeting Damon itself, I was very nervous. It was very exhilarating. I'd never been in the room with somebody that successful before, more than success, the fame. This was somebody that I watched on TV. I watch Shark Tank pretty regularly. And so, being someone that you see on TV and then all of a sudden you're meeting him in person, it's a very different experience. So I was very nervous walking in there, but Damon was just like any other person. He was so easy to talk to and so genuinely interested in just helping and adding value in the time I had with him. Damon is an inspiring example of someone who's pretty much came from rags to riches. He grew up in a pretty bad part of New York, single mom. He's dyslexic. I mean, he's pretty much gone through every challenge, and now he's worth about $250 million and has built an amazing legacy of helping people along the way. I just felt like he was so connected to his roots. He was very grounded. And so I felt very fitting that I would explain this experience and really bring out what makes Damon that way. I was extremely starstruck and I wasn't as composed as I usually was. And I think there's a lesson in that itself. This experience was very much needed. I've never been in a situation like that. And sometimes no matter how much you prepare, no matter what you read, and no matter who you ask, there's no better teacher than experience. And there's no better experience than just throwing yourself into the fire without having really any idea of what it's going to feel like. And so for me, I threw myself in. I thought it was going to be different. I thought it was going to be like I just had all this fear going into, or not even fear, anxiety, fear. I had a lot of these emotions that I was sort of bottling up and creating for myself in my own mind before I actually walked into the room. But once I walked into the room, I spoke very fast. I was very exhilarated and I was sort of stumbling my words. But even Damon, he told me, he's like, "Hey man, calm down. I'm here to talk. Let's do this." And he was very normal. He was a normal person. And I think that was an experience I needed to feel. I needed to be there and feel that no matter who you're talking to, they are a person. It doesn't matter if you have no money or all the success, no success. It doesn't matter what race, color, where you are. Everybody is people. Everybody is an individual who is driven by the same things, the same compassion, the same love, the same ideas for life. Everybody wants the same thing. And so for me to experience that with someone like Damon really gave me the confidence. So the next time I'm in the room with somebody who's accomplished and successful, I won't treat them any different than I would treat a best friend or a family member or somebody that one of my team members. They'll be the same. And I think that was one of my biggest lessons that I took. Daymond is a brilliant businessman, and going into it, JavaPress is about 2 years old, and we've grown pretty fast. And so when I went in there, I had all these grand ideas. I was like, oh, I want to get our equipment into retail. I want to own coffee shop. I want to do all these things. I had all these ideas for what JavaPress could be, because we've got this mission of helping people experience contagious happiness. And I wasn't sure the best way to do that. So when I went in there, I told Damon about all these grand ideas. He gave me one piece of advice that has now changed the trajectory of what we're going to be doing moving forward. And it's so simple, but it hit me so hard. He told me to double down on what I'm doing best. We have been an e-commerce company for so long, and we found success in doing what we do through e-commerce. We're not doing everything that we can in the e-commerce space. So his idea was, why would you try to move on to something else when you haven't perfected what's in front of you already? And I think that in itself is a lesson for any part of life. A lot of times we tend to have what I call shiny object syndrome, where we start doing one thing, and then all of a sudden there's a really shiny object in the corner of our eye, and we're like, oh, we're like squirrels. We just run to it. And I feel like we're constantly doing that. And I do that myself, not only in business, but also my personal life, where we see this shiny object and it looks beautiful, but then I get there and then I experience it for everything it's worth. And then I find the next shiny object in my corner. But doing that doesn't allow you to master what's in front of you. And it doesn't allow you to really achieve success, because success doesn't come from chasing things left and right. It comes from focusing in on core principles and doing it over time. The compound effect is real. Everything compounds. So if you start to focus on something in front of you, and then all of a sudden you get distracted, you have to start all over again, and you don't let the compound effect come into play. The compound interest, compound effect, the idea of compounding, for those who don't know, is the idea that you're going to have slow and steady growth until the very end, where it turns exponential. So in order to achieve exponential success, you have to keep your head down on the areas that you're focusing on every day. And for me, that was e-commerce. So what I took away from Damon was that stay focused on what's in front of me. Perfect every moment. Focus on laying every brick perfectly until you have the wall of your dreams. Don't lay one brick and then all of a sudden move over and try and build the house yet. No, that's the next chapter. This chapter isn't done yet. And so for me, the idea of meeting Damon was an important testament to the idea of being the best version of yourself in every moment. But you can only do that if you're present in the moment that you have. So for me, moving forward into February, March, April, and beyond, I'm focusing my efforts on being the best version of JavaPress in the version that it is, which is an e-commerce brand. And that's where we're going to be focusing all of our energy. There are going to be opportunities come up. There are going to be things that come and look very shiny in the distance, and opportunities from other people who come in and say that, oh, it's a great time, take advantage of it. But that's not going to be something that I indulge in this year. And I think that if you really want to master something, if you really want to have lifelong sustainable success, you have to hone in on doing one thing you're good at. And by honing in on doing one thing you're good at, you allow yourself to experience the benefits that come from compound interest and the compound effect of life itself. So those are my lessons from Daymond. I hope you found some fruit in me explaining my own experiences. If you don't know anything about Damon, he's an amazing entrepreneur and a motivational speaker. He's actually got a new book coming out January 23rd. It's called Rise and Grind. And I can't wait to pick it up. And we'll actually be doing some really cool specials with the book this month. And so, like I said, hope you found this podcast episode helpful. Until next time, stay grounded. Have a wonderful week, my friends. Thanks for joining us today on this episode of the Stay Grounded podcast brought to you by Java Press Coffee Company. My name is Raj, and I hope you found this interview helpful as you create your own ways to make daily happiness a priority. If you're interested in learning more about how your morning coffee can turn into a consistent source of joy in your life, visit www.javapress.com to learn how our products can help you do that, and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off your purchase. Again, thanks so much for joining us. Stay grounded.